The sharp echo of polished leather shoes against marble rang out in the nearly empty church as Michael Turner made his way toward the altar. There, in a white wedding gown, stood a bride who looked like her world had just collapsed. Michael had only been driving by when he noticed the strange scene outside, guests streaming out of the church with hushed voices and sympathetic looks. Curiosity pulled him inside, and now he found himself staring at a young woman left standing alone on the most important day of her life. The bride, an elegant black woman, gripped her bouquet so tightly her hands trembled. Her maid of honor, a woman in a burgundy dress, stood close by, just as stricken. Michael paused at the back of the church pews, unwilling to leave, watching the heartbreaking scene unfold. "Where is he?" the bride whispered, her voice carrying through the cavernous sanctuary. "I don't know, Danielle," the maid of honor answered softly, her own voice shaking. "He was here this morning for the rehearsal. He seemed fine, happy even." "Danielle?" Michael tucked the name away as his chest tightened. Whoever this woman was, her groom had abandoned her, leaving her shattered in front of family, friends, and strangers. The priest stepped forward with quiet sympathy. "My dear, perhaps we should go to the back room," he said, motioning gently. But Danielle stood frozen, her gown gleaming white under the church lights, her body rigid as if turned into a statue carved out of heartbreak. Michael had witnessed devastation in his line of work before, but this, watching a life unravel in real time, cut him deeper than he expected. Just then, a young man in a disheveled tuxedo rushed into the church, face flushed with panic. "I've called him 20 times, straight to voicemail. I went to his place, his car's gone." His eyes met Danielle's. "I'm so sorry." Michael's jaw clenched in anger. What kind of man abandoned a woman like this? What sort of coward left her alone in a wedding dress with no explanation? "Did he say anything?" Danielle's voice was nearly a whisper. "Yesterday, this morning, anything at all?" The young man shook his head. "No. He seemed nervous, sure, but every groom is nervous. He talked about your honeymoon, your future together. I swear, Danielle, there were no signs he planned to run away." The words hit like a punch in the gut. Danielle's face went ghostly pale. Guests murmured as they trickled out, "Poor thing. How could he do this to her? Maybe it's for the best." Michael's fists tightened at that last comment. How could anyone think such cruelty was for the best? An older woman, clearly Danielle's mother, rushed to the bride's side. "Sweetheart, let's get you out of this dress. Let's go home." "I can't," Danielle whispered hollowly. "I can't face that apartment. His things are still there. Our unopened gifts." This wasn't just a wedding ruined. Michael understood. It was a life implosion. Danielle was left adrift, her foundation ripped away in a single brutal morning. The maid of honor, Rachel, squeezed Danielle's trembling hand. "Stay with me. We'll figure this out." But the blank, distant look in Danielle's eyes told Michael that even her friend's love couldn't ease this wound. The photographer quietly packed up her camera. "I'm so sorry, dear. Should I just put everything away?" Danielle nodded wordlessly. The strength she had been clinging to was cracking fast. When the last of the crowd trickled out, only Danielle, Rachel, her parents, and Michael remained in the hollow silence of the church. Not the expectant hush of a ceremony, but the emptiness of dreams collapsing. "Why?" Danielle whispered to the air. "Why today? Why like this?" And that was the moment Michael made his choice. He couldn't walk away. Something about this woman's quiet dignity amidst her humiliation demanded he act. He stepped forward, his footsteps echoing as every eye turned to him. Danielle looked up, confusion flickering through her tear-stained face as the well-dressed stranger stopped a few feet away. "Excuse me," Michael said gently, his voice steady. "I don't mean to intrude. But I can see you're in need of help." Danielle blinked, trying to place him. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" "My name is Michael Turner," he replied with a polite nod. "And I was wondering if we could speak privately." Rachel bristled, stepping protectively closer. Who are you? What do you want? Michael kept his tone calm. I believe that when life delivers an unexpected blow, we should look for unexpected solutions. His eyes met Danielle's. I have a proposition that might interest you. For the first time all day, Danielle's devastated eyes flickered, not with pain, but with curiosity. I think, Michael said softly, that this terrible day could be the beginning of something much better. Later, Danielle sat alone in the church's small garden, her dress wrinkled and streaked with tears. Her hair had fallen loose, her makeup smeared. Rachel and her parents had begged her to come home, but Danielle insisted on solitude. The irony cut deep. This was the hour she was supposed to be celebrating her marriage. Instead, she sat on a cold stone bench, wondering how her entire life had unraveled in a single day. Footsteps crunched along the gravel path. She looked up, expecting Rachel, but it was Michael again, his tailored suit sharp against the fading sunlight. Excuse me, he said gently. I don't mean to intrude, but are you all right? Danielle almost laughed. All right? She was as far from all right as a person could be. But something in his voice, true concern, not empty politeness, made her pause. I'm fine, she lied, her voice hoarse. I'm Michael Turner, he introduced himself. I was driving by, saw you here. You looked like someone who could use help. The name hit her with recognition. Turner, as in Turner Enterprises? He looked slightly uncomfortable but nodded. Yes. But right now, I'm just someone who saw a woman going through the worst day of her life. Despite herself, a faint smile tugged at her lips. That's probably the truest thing anyone said to me today. He sat down on the bench beside her, careful to keep respectful distance. Do you have somewhere to go? Someone to call? The questions broke her composure. Tears spilled again. I was supposed to get married today. She choked out. But Adam, he left me. He didn't even show up. Michael's face softened. That's unforgivable. Everyone keeps saying it's for the best. Danielle sobbed. But how can it be? I loved him. We planned a whole life. And now I have nothing. No home, no job, no future. Michael studied her carefully. What's your name? Danielle Bennett, she whispered, wiping her cheeks. I don't even know why I'm telling you all this. You're a stranger. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger, he replied. Then, after a pause, and any man who abandons you like that is a fool. Something in his tone caught her attention. There was pain in his eyes, too, a loneliness she recognized. You sound like someone who knows what it's like to be betrayed, she said. Michael nodded. My best friend, my business partner, betrayed me last year. Stole clients. Spread lies. Tried to destroy me. I thought I knew him. I was wrong. I'm sorry, Danielle said sincerely. I survived, he replied quietly. And so will you. The question is, what now? Danielle shook her head. I don't know. Rachel offered me her place, but she has roommates. My parents want me to come home, but that feels like going backward. I just don't know where to start. Michael went silent, clearly thinking. Finally, he turned to her. This might sound crazy, but I have a proposition for you. Danielle raised an eyebrow. A proposition? I need a wife, he said simply. Not for love. For business. My company works with old-school clients who respect family men. Being single is hurting me. I need a wife who can help me in business and society. Danielle stared at him. You're asking me to marry you? We just met. I'm asking you to consider a business arrangement. Michael clarified. A marriage of convenience. You need a new start. I need credibility. We can help each other. The idea was absurd, yet strangely intriguing. You don't even know me, Danielle said. I know you've been abandoned today, and you're still holding yourself with grace. Michael countered. I know you're intelligent, articulate, and capable. Those are the qualities I need in a partner. Not a wife in the traditional sense? She asked cautiously. Exactly. You'd have your own space, your own life. No hidden expectations. In exchange, you'd have stability, housing, income, time to rebuild. Danielle glanced at her ruined dress, then back at him. Insane or not, this man had appeared in her darkest moment with an offer that could change everything. The next morning, Danielle woke in Rachel's cramped apartment, disoriented. Then yesterday's memories came crashing back. Adam was gone. The wedding was destroyed. And now, impossibly, there was Michael Turner and his shocking proposal. Danielle's life felt like it had been reduced to ashes. But one thing kept replaying in her mind, something that had haunted her through the sleepless night: Michael Turner's shocking offer. Before leaving the church, he'd pressed his business card into her hand and asked her to think about it. "You're up early," Rachel said the next morning, shuffling out of the tiny kitchen with 2 steaming cups of coffee. Danielle accepted one gratefully. "I feel like I've been hit by a truck," she admitted. But also confused. She told Rachel everything about Michael's strange proposition. With each detail, her friend's eyes grew wider. "Are you out of your mind?" Rachel finally blurted when Danielle finished. "You can't marry a stranger. That's not a solution, it's trading one disaster for an even bigger one." "But what if it isn't?" Danielle asked quietly, surprising even herself. "What if this is exactly what I need right now? A fresh start. A way to move forward without having to worry about basic survival." "What do you even know about him?" Rachel demanded. "For all you know, he could be dangerous." "He's Michael Turner," Danielle interrupted. "I looked him up this morning. Turner Enterprises is worth hundreds of millions. He's been in business magazines. He does charity work. There's no scandal attached to his name." Rachel set her mug down with a hard clink. "That doesn't mean he isn't crazy. Normal people don't propose marriage to strangers in church courtyards. Normal people also don't get abandoned at the altar." Danielle shot back softly. "Maybe this is my chance to take control of my life instead of just letting it fall apart around me." Before Rachel could reply, Danielle's phone lit up. Her heart dropped when she saw the name, Adam. "Don't answer," Rachel urged immediately. But Danielle's hand was already moving. She swiped and lifted the phone. "Hello?" "Danielle, thank God." Adam's voice was frantic, panicked. "I've been trying to reach you since yesterday. Are you okay? Am I okay?" Danielle's voice rose in disbelief. "You left me at the altar, Adam. In front of everyone we know. How did you think I'd be?" "I can explain," he said quickly. "I panicked. It wasn't you, it was me. The pressure, the commitment, it was too much. I just ran." "Yes," Danielle said coldly. "You ran. On our wedding day. Instead of talking to me, instead of being honest, you disappeared." "I know I was wrong," Adam pleaded. "But I've thought about it. I love you, Danielle. I want to marry you. We can reschedule, something smaller, just family." "No," Danielle said. Her voice was stronger than she felt, but it rang clear. "What?" "No, Adam. You had your chance, and you chose to run. You don't get to come back and pretend nothing happened." "But I love you. If you loved me, you would have been there yesterday." Danielle cut in, her voice steady with a power she hadn't felt before. "If you loved me, you would have talked to me instead of humiliating me in front of everyone. Goodbye, Adam." Her hands trembled as she ended the call, but a strange relief washed through her. Rachel stared at her with pride and concern. "Good for you," she whispered. "He doesn't deserve you." Danielle's gaze drifted to the business card on the coffee table. "Michael Turner. I'm going to call him," she said. "Danielle. I need to hear him out," she continued firmly. "If I'm going to make a choice this big, I need to understand exactly what I'd be agreeing to." An hour later, Danielle sat across from Michael in his sleek downtown office. In daylight, he was even more striking than she remembered: handsome, confident, but also steady in a way that felt oddly reassuring. "I'm glad you called," Michael said, offering her tea or coffee. "Honestly, I wasn't sure you would." "I almost didn't," Danielle admitted. "My friend thinks I'm crazy for even considering this." "She's probably right to worry," Michael replied without hesitation. "It is unusual. But if we set clear boundaries and expectations, I think it could work for both of us." Danielle leaned forward. "What exactly would you expect from me?" Michael's voice shifted to a calm, businesslike tone. "I attend dinners, fundraisers, charity galas, situations where being seen with a wife matters. I'd expect you to be my partner in those settings. In private, we'd live separate lives." "Separate bedrooms?" Danielle asked, flushing slightly. "Of course," Michael said quickly. "This is a marriage of convenience, not romance. Friendship, hopefully. But nothing more, unless we both wanted that someday." "And how long would this last?" "A year to start," he suggested. "That gives you time to find your footing. If it's working, we could extend it." Danielle hesitated. "What about money?" "I can't contribute right now." "You wouldn't need to," Michael said firmly. "I'd cover your expenses, housing, clothing, everything. In return, you'd help me maintain the image my business requires." "That feels one-sided," Danielle said softly. "What do you really get out of this?" Michael paused, then gave her a sad smile. "Companionship. My life looks perfect from the outside, but it's empty. I don't trust easily anymore after what my former partner did to me. I don't have time for dating. This arrangement, it gives me stability, and it gives you a fresh start. No complications." Something in his voice tugged at her heart. For all his success, he was just as lonely as she was. "If I agreed?" she asked slowly. "When would we do it?" "As soon as possible," Michael said. "A courthouse ceremony. Nothing elaborate. Just a formality." Danielle thought about Adam's phone call that morning, about his cowardice. She thought about the pitying looks from her guests, about relying on friends and family to pick up her broken pieces. "Okay," she whispered. Michael blinked. "Okay?" "Yes," Danielle said with growing certainty. "I'll marry you, Michael Turner. But I have one condition." "What's that?" "If either of us wants out, if one of us falls in love with someone else, or just wants to walk away, we do it cleanly. No running. No vanishing. We face each other and end it honestly." Michael's smile this time was warm, genuine. "That's a promise I can make." 2 weeks later, Danielle stood in the grand foyer of Michael's mansion, suitcase in hand, trying not to be overwhelmed. The wedding had been exactly as promised, simple, legal, with only Rachel and Michael's assistant as witnesses. "Your room is upstairs," Michael said, carrying her bag. "Second door on the right. I hope it's comfortable." The bedroom he showed her was larger than Rachel's whole apartment, with a king bed, a sitting area, and windows overlooking manicured gardens. "It's beautiful," Danielle admitted. "But I feel like I'm intruding." "You're not intruding," Michael assured her. "You're fulfilling your part of the agreement." He hesitated before adding, "Our first test comes this Saturday, the Hartman Foundation Gala. It's one of the year's biggest events. Many of my clients will be there." Danielle straightened her shoulders. "That's why I'm here, isn't it?" The next few days passed quietly. The mansion was beautiful but lonely. Michael left early and returned late, their conversations careful, almost formal. Then Thursday he surprised her. He walked in carrying shopping bags. "I hope you don't mind," he said, looking almost sheepish. "I bought you a dress for Saturday." Danielle opened the bag and pulled out a midnight blue gown. Elegant, sophisticated, perfectly her size. "How did you know?" she asked. Michael's ears flushed slightly. "I may have asked Rachel." Danielle's throat tightened. "It's perfect." "Thank you." Saturday arrived. Danielle took her time getting ready, curling her hair, carefully applying her makeup. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. A woman who looked confident and graceful, not the abandoned bride she had been just weeks ago. Michael was waiting at the bottom of the stairs in a tailored tuxedo. When he saw her, his eyes widened, his expression softening into something close to awe. "You look stunning," he murmured. Danielle smoothed her dress nervously. "Thank you. You're not so bad yourself." On the drive, Michael briefed her. "The Hartmans are old money. Mrs. Hartman values family above everything. And Richard Torres, he's considering a major contract, but he thinks I'm too unsettled." "No pressure," Danielle said dryly, pleased when Michael chuckled. At the hotel ballroom, the chandeliers glittered, and hundreds of guests mingled in formal attire. Danielle's nerves surged, until Michael offered his arm. Something about his calm steadiness grounded her. "Mr. Turner," a distinguished older woman greeted warmly. "And this must be your wife. Mrs. Hartman, may I introduce Danielle?" Michael said smoothly. Danielle smiled, extending her hand. "It's such a pleasure to meet you." Mrs. Hartman's sharp but kind eyes softened. "Michael has been very secretive about you. Tell me, how did you two meet?" For a split second, panic flared. They hadn't rehearsed this. But Michael stepped in effortlessly. "We met during a difficult time in Danielle's life," he said warmly. "I was struck immediately by her strength and grace." It wasn't exactly a lie. And the sincerity in his voice made Danielle's heart catch. The evening flowed more smoothly than she imagined. She charmed Michael's associates, asked thoughtful questions, even drew compliments from their wives. "You're a natural," Michael murmured as they watched couples dance. "I'm just being polite," Danielle said. "But thank you. Everyone's been welcoming. Especially Torres," Michael said, nodding toward the man who had lingered longest with them. "I think that contract may finally land." As if on cue, Torres approached. "It's refreshing to meet a couple who clearly brings out the best in each other," he said warmly. Pride swelled in Danielle's chest. "Danielle keeps me grounded," Michael replied. And again, it didn't sound rehearsed. It sounded real. On the quiet ride home, Danielle stared out the window, her thoughts swirling. She had expected to feel like an imposter tonight. Instead, she had felt useful, valued, even admired. "Thank you," Michael said as they pulled into the driveway. "You were perfect tonight." "It wasn't as hard as I thought," Danielle admitted. "Your colleagues are kind." "They are. And they adored you," Michael said softly. "I can see why." Something in his tone made her glance at him. But his face in the dim light gave nothing away. "Good night, Michael," she said as they entered the house. "Good night, Danielle," he replied, his voice quiet but full of something she couldn't quite name. That night, as Danielle slipped into bed, she found herself replaying the gala over and over. For the first time since Adam had walked out on her, she felt a sense of accomplishment. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was contributing, making a difference in someone's life. The feeling of being useful, of having value again, warmed her in a way she hadn't expected. Maybe, just maybe, this whole arrangement with Michael would turn out better than either of them had imagined. 3 weeks into their unusual marriage, Danielle woke up feeling absolutely miserable. Her head throbbed, her throat burned, and every bone in her body ached. Some nasty flu had hit her, and it wasn't letting go. She dragged herself downstairs, praying a cup of coffee might help, but the smell alone turned her stomach. She was hunched over the kitchen island when Michael walked in. "Are you okay?" His voice was sharp with concern. "Just a little under the weather," Danielle rasped. "I'll be fine." Michael studied her face, the pale skin, the way she could barely sit upright. "You look awful." "No offense." "None taken," Danielle croaked. "I feel awful." "Have you checked your temperature?" He was already rifling through a cabinet before she could protest. "It's just a cold," she muttered, but when the thermometer beeped, he frowned. 102.3. "That's not a cold, Danielle. You need bed rest." "Now. I can take care of myself." she whispered, too tired to argue. I'm sure you can, Michael said gently. But you don't have to. Before she could object, he scooped her into his arms and carried her upstairs. Under normal circumstances, Danielle would have been embarrassed, but she was too sick to resist. He tucked her into bed and pulled the covers to her chin. I'm calling my doctor, he said firmly. That's not necessary. It is, he cut in, his tone kind but unyielding. You have a high fever. Dr. Mitchell makes house calls. She'll be here within the hour. True to his word, Dr. Mitchell arrived and confirmed it was a nasty strain of the flu. Rest, fluids, medication, that was the prescription. She'll need someone to check on her often. The doctor told Michael. Make sure she's drinking, and watch that fever. I'll take care of her. Michael said immediately, without hesitation. When the doctor left, he returned to Danielle's room with water and pills. Every 4 hours, he said, helping her sit up. You don't have to babysit me, Danielle protested weakly. Don't you have work? Work can wait, he said, adjusting her pillows. You're my wife, Danielle. Taking care of you isn't babysitting, it's what husbands do. The word wife sent a strange flutter through her chest. This was supposed to be a contract, nothing more. But the way he cared for her felt real. All day, Michael checked on her. He brought soup, fruit, fresh water. He changed her blankets when she shivered and placed cool cloths on her forehead when she burned with fever. You're going to catch this too, Danielle warned. I've got an iron immune system, he joked softly. Besides, someone has to make sure you eat. He coaxed her into a few spoonfuls of chicken soup from a little diner downtown. It's really good, she admitted. It should be, he said with a half-smile. My mom used to bring it to me when I was sick. Same place. It was the first time Michael had mentioned his family. Danielle's curiosity overcame her exhaustion. Are your parents still alive? His expression dimmed. My mom passed 5 years ago. Cancer. My dad died when I was in college. I'm so sorry, Danielle said softly. He nodded. Losing my mom was the hardest. She was the one person I could always count on. She would have liked you. The intimacy of the comment surprised her, but she believed him. By the second day, her fever had broken, though she still felt drained. Michael continued hovering, working from home so she wasn't alone. You really don't have to do this, she said when he brought orange juice and toast. I'm better. You're still recovering, he insisted. Dr. Mitchell said another day of rest. But what about your meetings? Nothing my assistant can handle. You're more important right now. She searched his face, half expecting to find obligation or pity. Instead, she saw only genuine care. Why are you being so kind to me? She asked softly. Michael looked startled. What do you mean? This is supposed to be a business deal, she whispered. No one's watching. You don't get anything out of nursing me back to health. He was quiet for a moment. Then, with uncharacteristic vulnerability, he said, Maybe it's because it's been a long time since I had someone to care for. And maybe because you're not just a business arrangement anymore, Danielle. You're someone I've come to care about. Her heart skipped. She hadn't even realized how much the lines had blurred until he spoke them out loud. I care about you too, she admitted quietly. His smile warmed her to her core. Good. That makes this whole arrangement a lot easier for both of us. By the third day, Danielle felt strong enough to come downstairs. Michael was working in his office, but the moment he saw her, he stood. How are you feeling? Like a human again, she said with a smile. Thanks to you. I know caring for your fake wife wasn't in the contract. There was nothing fake about it, he said simply. You were sick. You needed me. I was glad to be there. Something in his tone made her heart race. He wasn't just being polite, he meant it. I should let you get back to work, she murmured, though she didn't move. Actually, he said, I was thinking of calling it a day. Would you like to have dinner together? Really together? Not me hovering with soup. The invitation felt different. Personal. I'd like that, Danielle said. That evening they ate in the cozy kitchen instead of the formal dining room. Conversation flowed easily: books, travel, dreams. I've always wanted to see Ireland, Danielle admitted. My grandmother was Irish. She told me stories about the hills and countryside. Michael's eyes softened. It's breathtaking. I went once for business, stayed longer just to explore. You'd love it. As they washed dishes side by side, Danielle realized how natural this felt. Comfortable. The loneliness she'd been drowning in since Adam's betrayal was fading, replaced by something warmer. Thank you again, she said quietly. It's been a long time since anyone's taken care of me. What about Adam? Michael asked, then winced. Sorry, that's not my place. It's okay, Danielle said. And honestly, he was never much help. He usually avoided me when I was sick. Michael frowned. That's not love. Not really. No, it wasn't, she admitted. But now I know what it feels like to actually be cared for. You deserve that, Danielle, Michael said quietly. You deserve someone who'll be there when you need them. Tears stung her eyes. So do you. For a moment, they just stood there, eyes locked, and something shifted between them. The walls of their agreement were crumbling, replaced with something real. The trip to Chicago was supposed to be business as usual: meetings, investors, charity luncheons. Danielle's role was to stand at Michael's side, smiling through dinners and making polite conversation. But sitting beside him on the plane, she realized how different it felt now. Tell me about this project, she asked as he flipped through his notes. His eyes lit up. It's a sustainable energy plan. Retrofitting older office buildings with solar and efficient systems. Better for the planet, cheaper in the long run. Danielle found herself genuinely engaged. That's brilliant. But the upfront cost must be the hard sell. He smiled. Exactly. You pick things up fast. I used to work in marketing, remember? She said with a grin. He tilted his head. Right. What kind of marketing? Consumer products mostly. Cosmetics, home goods. I loved it, actually. But I left when Adam and I got engaged. He wanted me to focus on the wedding and our new life. Michael frowned. So you gave up your career for him? At the time, it felt right, Danielle admitted, though the doubt was clear in her voice. He made enough to support us, and he said he wanted to take care of me. But you loved your work. Michael pressed gently. I did. I was good at it too. I had campaigns that worked. I was up for a promotion before I left. Do you miss it? The question stopped her. She hadn't let herself think about it, too consumed by heartbreak and this strange new life. Yes, she said slowly. I think I do. Then you should go back, Michael said firmly. Once you're ready. Our arrangement doesn't control your dreams. If you want to work, we'll make it work. His words echoed in her head the entire trip. At the investor dinner, she even surprised herself by chiming in with thoughtful questions. To her shock, the investors seemed to appreciate her insights. You seem to understand this business as well as your husband, said Margaret Chin, the wife of one investor, as they lingered over dessert. It's refreshing. I love his proposal, and you clearly have the brains to back it up. Danielle blushed, but inside she felt something shift. For the first time in months, she felt like herself again. Danielle found herself genuinely intrigued. The dinner had gone well, but it was Margaret Chin's words that lingered in her mind. You'd be great in environmental marketing. Margaret hadn't said it lightly either, she'd meant it. As they walked back to their hotel that night, Michael was quieter than usual. The meeting was a success, don't you think? Danielle asked. Very much so, he agreed. I think they're going to fund the project. That's incredible. You should be celebrating. But instead of smiling, Michael stopped walking and turned to her. I keep thinking about what Margaret said, about you working in environmental marketing. She wasn't just being polite, Danielle. She was right. You've got a way of understanding business and asking the right questions. Danielle studied his face carefully. Is that a problem? The opposite, Michael said, his voice steady. I was impressed. And I started wondering, what if you worked with me? At Turner Industries. We're expanding our environmental division, and we'll need someone who can actually communicate the value of what we're doing. You'd be perfect. Danielle blinked in surprise. You want to hire me? I want to give you the opportunity to interview. He clarified. If you're interested. If it's something you'd want to do. They reached the hotel lobby, the rush of other guests moving around them, while Danielle stood frozen, processing what he was offering. That could get complicated, she admitted. Working together and being married, even if this started as an arrangement. It might be complicated, Michael agreed softly. But it might also be exactly what we both need. That night, lying in the quiet of her hotel room, Danielle couldn't stop thinking about it. The idea of diving back into marketing stirred something inside her that she hadn't felt in months. Excitement. Real excitement. And not just about the work itself, but about the chance to stand side by side with Michael. Working with him didn't feel like a complication. It felt like an opportunity. The next morning at breakfast, Michael looked uncharacteristically nervous. Did you think about what I said last night? I did, Danielle replied, meeting his gaze. And I'd like to know more about the position. Relief and genuine excitement spread across his face. Really? Really. But on one condition. What's that? If we're going to work together, we need to be completely honest. No blurring the lines between my job and our personal arrangement. I want to know that whatever I earn, I've earned. Not because of you. Agreed, Michael said immediately. You'll be hired based on your merits. If it doesn't work out, it won't affect us at home. As the plane lifted off, Danielle stared out the window. For the first time since Adam had walked out on her, she wasn't just thinking about surviving. She was thinking about her future. And more, that future seemed to involve Michael Turner in ways that went far beyond a contract marriage. Danielle's first day at Turner Industries felt like stepping into a new chapter of her life. Michael had made sure she interviewed like any other candidate, and she had earned the position on her own. 6 weeks after Chicago, she was officially part of the environmental division, and she loved it. Welcome to the team, said Patricia Rodriguez, the marketing director, as she led Danielle into her small but bright office. Michael's told us great things about your background and ideas. Danielle spent her morning diving into the company's green initiatives and was blown away by the scope of their projects. Around noon, Michael appeared at her door with 2 coffees. How's day 1 going? He asked, handing her a cup. Better than I expected, Danielle said gratefully. This work is fascinating. I had no idea how much you were doing with sustainability. We're just scratching the surface, Michael said, settling into a chair. But we need to get better at communicating it. Danielle flipped through a brochure she'd been reviewing. That's the problem. You're talking too much about technology and not enough about the benefits. For example, your solar panel project. This spends pages on how it works, but barely mentions the cost savings. Business owners care about ROI, not wiring diagrams. Michael leaned in, impressed. That makes perfect sense. What would you suggest? For the next hour, Danielle laid out her ideas, shifting the focus from technical jargon to financial benefits and public reputation. Michael listened intently, asking questions, taking notes. You're going to be a huge asset, he said finally. I hope so. It just feels good to be working again. To be contributing. You light up when you talk about this, Michael said softly, lingering in the doorway before heading off to a meeting. Danielle smiled as she turned back to her research. It had been so long since she'd felt this confident. Working together was easier than either of them had expected. During office hours, they were strictly professional. But at home, things shifted. Evenings became about teamwork, cooking dinner, sharing stories, bouncing around ideas. One night as they chopped vegetables, Michael said, "The Peterson Group wants to see a full presentation next week. I'll have the marketing deck ready by Friday," Danielle assured him. "The ROI numbers are strong, they'll love it." "I know they will," Michael said, setting down the knife to look at her. "You've been incredible, Danielle. And not just as my wife. As a professional. You're really talented." The words hit deeper than she expected. "Thank you. It feels amazing to be building something again. Is this what you want long term? Environmental marketing?" Danielle stirred the sauce thoughtfully. "I think so. I love the work. I love knowing what I do matters. Plus," she added with a grin, "I have a pretty great boss." Michael chuckled. "Just pretty great? Okay, maybe more than pretty great." Something in her tone made him pause. He was standing close, too close, and when she glanced up, his eyes were locked on hers. "Danielle." His voice was low, serious. "Yes?" she breathed. "This arrangement, it doesn't feel like an arrangement anymore." He hesitated, searching for words. "I don't see you as my business partner wife. I just see you as my wife." Her chest tightened. "I wake up thinking of you," Michael continued. "Your smile makes my whole day lighter. Danielle, I'm falling in love with you." The words hung in the air, heavy and fragile. She exhaled shakily. "That doesn't complicate anything. Because I'm falling in love with you, too." Relief flooded his face as he stepped closer. "Really? Really?" Danielle whispered. "You've been more caring, more supportive than anyone ever has. You make me feel valued. Loved. You are loved," Michael said, cupping her face tenderly. "So very loved." When he kissed her, it was nothing like the brief formality of their courthouse vows. This kiss was real. Warm. Alive. "So what now?" Danielle asked breathlessly. "No," Michael said, holding her close. "We stop pretending." That night, for the first time, they shared not just a house but a life. They talked late into the night, about childhoods, dreams, betrayals, and trust. "I never thought I'd be able to trust again," Michael admitted quietly. "Neither did I," Danielle whispered. "But with you, it feels easy." "I love you, Danielle Turner," he said, her married name on his lips like a vow. "I love you too, Michael Turner," she replied. "My husband." 3 months later, Danielle's life was fuller than she'd ever imagined. Her work at Turner Industries was thriving, her marriage with Michael had blossomed into something real, and for the first time in years, she felt whole. That was when Adam showed up. Danielle was leaving the office late when she saw him leaning against her car. For a moment, she thought her eyes were playing tricks on her. But no, there he was. Adam. Same face, same presence, though now with a desperate edge. "Danielle," he said quickly, stepping toward her. "Thank God. I wasn't sure you'd see me." "What are you doing here, Adam?" Danielle's voice was calm, but her pulse hammered in her throat. She hadn't seen him since that awful call after their wedding disaster. "I had to see you," Adam said, his eyes raw, pleading. "I've been trying for months." "Your numbers changed. You moved. I had no way to reach you. I have a new life now," Danielle said simply. "One you made necessary when you left me standing alone." "I know," Adam blurted, "and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. But I've had time to think, Danielle. To figure out what really matters. I made the biggest mistake of my life when I walked away from you," Adam said, his voice rough and desperate. Danielle studied him carefully. He looked thinner than before, with deep circles under his eyes. "Adam, it's been over 4 months. You can't just show up now and expect." "I know it's been a long time," he cut in quickly. "But I needed to figure out why I ran. I needed to face my commitment issues. I've been seeing a therapist, Danielle. I've been working on myself." Despite everything, Danielle felt a flicker of the old compassion she'd once had for him. "I'm glad you're getting help," she said softly. But that doesn't change what happened. I know I hurt you. Adam pressed, stepping closer. I know I destroyed your trust and humiliated you in front of everyone we knew. But I love you. I've always loved you. And I'm ready to prove it now. He swallowed hard. You probably hate me. But I know you loved me once. Real love doesn't just vanish, does it? We had 3 years together, 3 good years. That has to mean something. Danielle's emotions twisted into a confusing knot, anger for the pain he'd caused, sadness for the love they had lost, but also something unexpected, relief. Relief that she felt none of the heartbreak she once thought would consume her if she ever saw him again. You're right, she said quietly. I did love you. But Adam, that was months ago. And everything's different now. What do you mean? He asked, his eyes darting over her polished outfit, her calm confidence, the way she carried herself so differently than before. I mean, I have a new life. A job I love. A future that makes me happy. That's great, Adam said quickly, though his face tightened. But that doesn't mean we can't still have a future together. I've changed. I'm ready for marriage. Ready for all of it. Danielle took a steadying breath. Adam, I'm already married. The words hit him like a blow. He stumbled back, his face draining of color. What? I got married 3 months ago, Danielle said firmly. To who? His voice was a whisper. To a man who was there for me when I needed someone most. A man who's never once given me reason to doubt his commitment, or his love. Adam's chest rose and fell as if he'd been punched. But we were supposed to get married. We were supposed to spend our lives together. We were supposed to do a lot of things, Danielle said evenly. But you chose to walk away. I made a mistake. Adam's voice cracked. People make mistakes, Danielle. That doesn't erase everything we had. You're right, Danielle replied. It does mean something. It taught me what I don't want. It showed me the difference between someone who says they love you and someone who proves it every single day. Adam's eyes filled with tears. Please don't do this. Don't throw away everything we were. I'm not throwing anything away, Danielle said firmly. I'm choosing something better. Someone better. Someone who would never leave me standing alone. Who is he? Adam's voice broke. His name is Michael Turner, Danielle said. And he's everything you never were. He's reliable. Supportive. Kind. He makes me feel valued and cherished every day. He would never abandon me. Adam stared at her, and she could see the exact moment he realized he had lost her for good. Do you love him? He asked hoarsely. With all my heart, Danielle answered without hesitation. That certainty shattered him. He sank down onto the hood of a nearby car, burying his face in his hands. I've lost you forever, haven't I? You lost me the day you walked away from our wedding, Danielle said gently. I'm sorry, Adam. But you can't undo the choice you made. What if I hadn't run? He asked desperately. Would we have been happy? I don't know, Danielle said honestly. Maybe for a while. But the man who could abandon the woman he claimed to love, that's not the man I want. Michael would never do that to me. Adam looked up with red, broken eyes. There's nothing I can say to change your mind, is there? Nothing, Danielle said softly but firmly. I'm happy, Adam. Truly happy. Please don't try to take that from me. Adam stood slowly, defeated. I should say I'm happy for you, but I can't. I'm miserable without you. I think I always will be. I hope that's not true, Danielle said sincerely. I hope you find someone who makes you happy. Someone you'll never want to run away from. There's no one like you, Adam whispered. You're right, Danielle said. And there's no one like Michael either. That's why we're perfect for each other. At last, Adam nodded. I guess this is goodbye. I guess it is, Danielle agreed. Take care of yourself, Adam. Get the help you need. He walked away without looking back. Danielle watched until he disappeared into the city night, a strange peace settling over her. His reappearance hadn't shaken her, it had confirmed the truths she already knew. She had chosen right. Michael was her future. That evening, Danielle sat in her car outside their home, her home, debating whether to tell Michael. Part of her wanted to protect their happiness from Adam's shadow. But she and Michael had built their love on honesty. She wasn't about to break that now. She found him in his study, laptop open. He looked up with a smile the instant she appeared in the doorway. "You're late," he said, standing to greet her with a kiss. "I was starting to worry." "I'm sorry," Danielle murmured, holding him tighter than usual. "Something unexpected happened after work." Michael immediately noticed the weight in her tone. "What kind of unexpected?" "Adam showed up." Michael froze. "Adam, your ex-fiancé?" "Yes." Michael's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed controlled. "What did he want?" "To apologize. To ask for another chance. He said he's been in therapy. That he's changed." Michael's eyes flickered, searching hers. "And what did you tell him?" "That I'm already married to the man I love. That it's too late." Some tension drained from his shoulders, but not all. How did it feel, seeing him again? Danielle thought carefully. Sad. Sad for what we wasted. Sad for who we were. But also, relieved. Relieved because I felt nothing for him anymore. No longing, no regret. Just nothing. And it made me realize how completely I've moved on. Michael's eyes softened, though vulnerability still lingered there. "Did even a small part of you consider his offer?" "Michael, look at me," Danielle said, lifting his face toward hers. "Adam had years to prove he was ready. He failed. In 4 months with you, you've shown me more love, more loyalty, more genuine care than he ever did. But you loved him once," Michael said quietly. "I thought I did," Danielle corrected. "But I was wrong about what love really looks like. Love doesn't run away when it's scared. Love shows up every single day. That's what you do, Michael. That's what real love is." Michael's eyes shone as she cupped his face. "You are the love of my life, Michael Turner," she said fiercely. "Not because you saved me from a bad day, not because of some arrangement, but because you are the most honorable, kind, wonderful man I've ever known. I choose you. Always." Relief and love washed over him. "I was terrified I'd lose you," he admitted. "You'll never lose me," Danielle whispered. "Not to him. Not to anyone. My whole heart is yours." He pulled her close, his voice raw with emotion. "I love you so much." "I love you too," she replied, her voice steady and sure. That night, lying together, Danielle finally felt the last shadows of her past fall away. Adam was just a memory. Michael was her forever. 6 months later, Danielle stood in front of the mirror in a simple cream dress, nothing like the elaborate gown she'd once worn for a wedding that never happened. This time, she felt calm. Certain. Joyful. "Are you ready?" Rachel asked, smiling as she adjusted Danielle's veil. "More than ready," Danielle said. "I can't wait to marry him, for real this time." The ceremony took place in the same garden where her life had once collapsed, now transformed into a place of magic and light. As Danielle walked down the aisle, her eyes locked on Michael. His smile was radiant, his love undeniable. When they exchanged vows, their words were filled with honesty, gratitude, and promises of forever. When Father Martinez pronounced them husband and wife, for real this time, their kiss sealed everything they had fought for and found together. Later, as they danced under twinkling lights in their backyard, Michael whispered, "So, what happens now?" Danielle smiled, her head against his chest. "Now? Now we live happily ever after." And they both knew they would.